rocking the hog gear because Arkansas had a big win today, and we probably locked our seat in for the NCAA tourney. Most likely, we were on the bubble. I
One
think we
point
were
win.
projected to be
1 point
in.
win.
Whoop. Yeah, yeah. But woo pig, boo. I like the hat. You must have just thrown that on before like within the last 2 minutes.
I just decided I'd throw the hat on. I got the jacket on, I got the shirt on. Might as well just complete the look for today.
Yeah, I brought my hat up here, but um, I just forgot to throw it on. But anyway, huge win for the Hogs today. We needed that to kind of, basically to seal the deal that we are most likely going to be in the NCAA tourney. So we are pumped. Be the top 25 team. It was scary though. We were up by 16.
Yeah.
Mississippi State made a pretty big comeback, and it came down to a game-winning block / missed shot from them. And yeah, that was intense, but we got the dub.
Love it. It was a fun game to watch today. A lot of good games. We're going to the SEC tournament coming up, and there's a lot of good games on tonight too. So the next few weekends and weeks are going to be very exciting with lots of good basketball. I'm excited to see who's going to pull it off this year.
Yeah, and as we were jumping on here, I think Florida was spanking Ole Miss, which I'm all about. Yeah, I think Duke was pretty much handling UNC, and yeah, we got some of the women's games. Texas, LSU, South Carolina is playing. So the SEC Women's Championship game will be tomorrow. But we're excited to wrap that up and get the seedings for those teams within a week. And then the men's tournament, of course, here in Nashville, probably the biggest SEC men's tournament we've seen ever, just with how many good teams there are. I know we've talked a little bit about that, so we'll be excited to kick that off.
You didn't mention the big game today. First of all, congratulations to all women. Happy International Women's Day. Big deal.
Bama Auburn.
I love that. Yeah, and Bama Auburn. So Bama beat Auburn, and was it double overtime?
Single overtime, but game-winning shot.
Single overtime. Yep. So that was really fun to watch. And then, again, it's International Women's Day. So just a little love to all the women out there. So many cool things that we do. And I just want to celebrate it because I think it's a really special day. It's always been a special day to me. I've always worked with great companies that have always celebrated it, but I just want to celebrate it today.
Yeah. Celebrate all the ladies out there, 100%, especially with all the amazing women's basketball going on.
Yep. I had a friend, and she said she was sitting outside of Publix, and she saw all these men going in and getting flowers for women today. So I thought that was really cool too. So just a little tidbit of celebrating the women out there. Whether you're a woman or you're supporting women or whatever it may be, happy International Women's Day.
Love that. Absolutely. And yeah, I can't believe we forgot the Auburn Bama basketball game. We were watching that and talking about it was probably one of the best games we've watched all season. I mean, they battled back and forth.
Yep.
We're not like the biggest fans of either of them, but it was an intense game. Bama's still fighting to try and get potentially a 1 seed in the NCAA tourney. And yeah, Grant Nelson, he had a dunk and then did the War Eagle on him at Auburn. I mean, it was tense, and we were into it for sure. And so that was really funny because
it was really funny, and I honestly love seeing that because he's like a very even kill player. So it was just great.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. I picked Auburn to win the whole thing, but I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of enjoyable watching Bama compete and beat them today. So I don't know, we'll see what happens, but that was a great game nonetheless. But no, we've been talking about making this episode for a while. We have been kind of pushing it as we've been waiting answers for Shyrah's health and just kind of her diagnosis and what we've been going through the last few months. And so, a lot of people have been asking. And so we finally have an official diagnosis. And long time coming. We have a game plan now, and it's we feel good about it. But, babe, why don't you just start from the beginning? Like back in the fall, and just kind of get us all the way up to speed to where we're at right now.
Sure. Before I start too, I just want to set this out there. I'm very blessed, and like this is a little bit of a challenge for us in our lives. But my goal through this whole journey, from when I was literally laying in a hospital bed, is to be an influence to motivate people. And so I don't want anyone to feel sorry for me. I don't want anyone to feel sorry for us. I just want to make awareness to like life and what can happen very quickly and how a 180 can happen. And also just how important your health really is. And so, you know, I'm a certified nutritionist and personal trainer. I have a background in kinesiology and physical health and education. So my life has been around fitness and health. And I feel like I've always lived a very healthy lifestyle, but this has just challenged me in some new ways. And you know, we lived 4 or 5 days in the gym a week prior, and eating very clean, avoiding seed oils and avoiding gluten. And, you know, we've done it all, and we've done the best we can. And now we're challenged a little bit more. But I just want to like bring awareness to like how important your health is, and just encourage people, because it is a hard journey, and know that you have somebody, you know, on the other side here fighting with you too. So if you're struggling with your health or have questions, I'm always here to help support them. I by no means am a doctor. I have just literally since day one dug into research and finding like actual educational information so I can do better for myself. And so a lot of this has just been things I've worked on, and then also just finding a really good doctor. I didn't settle for somebody who wasn't going to give me the support I needed. And I also have a certain lifestyle. Like, you know, I'm in the gym 4 or 5 days a week, and I have a very strong regimen, and I don't want somebody that's going to downplay how important it is for my health to be physically active. So, yes, we'll start back in the fall. So I am a chronic sinus infection person. Every year, October rolls around, I'm getting a sinus infection. This year, I was able to kind of knock it and combat it myself a little bit. But December came around, and I felt like I rolled around with another sinus infection, kind of fought it around for a few days. And finally, as I had a great doctor in Atlanta when we lived there prior, I did a teledoc visit, and she was like, all right, I'm going to send you some antibiotics. Of course, we know what this is, but maybe next year we like actually go to like a little more research on your sinus infections. And I'm like, sounds good. Get me through right now. I'm busy. I've got a lot going on. And so at this time, started some regular antibiotics that I take every year, like amoxicillin, nothing crazy. And Chris actually left the next day after I got started on the antibiotics for work in Atlanta. So I was home, me and the dog, and we had a lot of events going on. And I had been having some just fatigue with the sinus infection that I typically wouldn't say was odd for me. I just felt like I was really run down. And by Chris left on a Thursday, and by Thursday afternoon, I was like, something is not right with me. Just to give a little pre context there too, I had been like working like crazy, like really busy. My job was just like in a great spot, but we were also just really, really busy, and kind of probably neglected my health a little bit, I'll be very honest. So I just was like, push through, I got this, you know, get to the weekend kind of mindset. So Thursday comes along, I wake up, and I've been having some major muscle cramps in my calves. I'm not a muscle cramp person. Never experienced anything quite like that. And I was like, oh my goodness, I can't even walk. Like I got to the point where my feet wouldn't even pick up. Also, it had a lot of blurred vision, a little bit of weight loss, which for me was like very odd because I'm very structured with my nutrition. And so that was strange to me that I was like felt like a little weak and a little bit like had lost some weight. But nothing out of the normal, like fatigue wise, was just like busy. And by Thursday afternoon, I couldn't see at all. I had an event that evening, and I was pretty scared to do it. I had Chris Uber me some food, or DoorDash me some food that night for dinner, since he was in Atlanta. And I was like, man, something's not right.
Yeah, yeah. And by the way, so I'm in Atlanta. Uh, Actually, I'm going to our favorite bar in Atlanta, the Ivy, as they announced they were closing down. So I'm sitting at the bar by myself, just because no one else went from work with me, and I'm like, I gotta go send a proper goodbye to our favorite bar in Atlanta. So I'm sitting at the bar in Atlanta, enjoying a Tito's and a soda, I think watching Thursday Night Football, and then
Chicken tenders
Shira's
that he
like,
loves there.
yeah, yeah, dude. Shira's texted me like, I'm dying. But
Uh,
shout out to Beyond the Edge. I got you a wrap from Beyond the Edge,
yep.
our favorite sports bar. So that it at least got you through the night. I guess I'll
Yeah.
continue, but
Yeah.
shout out to the
Yeah.
Ivy,
No.
R.I.P.
I was in a pretty bad spot, and I was like, man, I'm not well. And just to context, like I could probably be really sick and not know it. Just I was living a pretty healthy lifestyle, and the doctors told me that probably saved me in a lot of ways here. But next morning, I knew something was really wrong, and could not see, could not walk. And long story short, I got picked up by an ambulance because my mother and my husband decided that it was crucial for me to get to the emergency room. Unfortunately, all my
Time
neighbors,
to go.
yeah, it was time to go. All my neighbors, all my friends, literally, we couldn't get a hold of anybody. It was just like the perfect timing of like where everyone was gone to work or something was out of town or whatever. And I couldn't see the phone or anything. So Chris was like calling everybody from Atlanta. Um, I had the most lovely 7 fire department out of Nashville. Shout out to them. Take good care of me. The paramedics were there, and they took me to the hospital. When I got into the emergency room, I wasn't really nervous. I was more just like, this sinus infection is kicking my tail. This is embarrassing. Like, what's going on? But then I also knew that the symptoms I had, like the blurred vision and the not being able to walk, was very, very abnormal for me since I had prior 2 nights before ran over 5 miles and lifted, and then just could not walk. So, laying in the ER, had a doctor come into me, and he just kept saying, "Girl, do you drink a lot of soda?" And I'm like, I don't drink soda at all, actually. I don't think I've had a soda since I was probably like 15 or 16. Maybe a few in college here and there, for caffeine, but like, do not remember drinking soda or anything. They just kept asking me over and over, and I kept getting frustrated because I was like, there is no way they're asking. This is what they're concerned about right now. Like, there's got to be bigger fish to fry. Um, and comes back, and they did some testing. I had tested positive for type A flu, which if you've had the type A flu this year, I've never had the flu that I'm aware of. I didn't know I had it, but I will say I had incredible back cramps once I kind of figured out what was going on. It was just like depleting my body. Shout out, it is a nasty thing this year. And so I had type A flu. I was also in diabetic ketoacidosis. So my A1C was at a 12.1, which the normal person needs to be under a 5.5 to be considered non-diabetic. And I was in a really, really bad state because I was in DKA. So they had rushed me to the intensive care unit where my magnesium, my potassium, and they were trying to get my blood sugar down to like a manageable number. Very scary. Now knowing what I know about diabetes and knowing about like the flu and all the things I went through, very scary. And I will be honest with you, like, if you've ever stayed in a hospital, it is not fun. Like, there is no joy in the hospital. But we made the most of it. And I had a really great ICU doctor and a really great ICU nurse who really took care of me and, made sure I was getting what I need and explaining to me what they thought was going on with me.
Luckily,
I'll
I was
pause.
able to find you, by the way, too. So while Shira's in ICU or the ER, I'm driving from Atlanta, and they won't tell me what hospital she's at. So for like 3 hours, I have both of our families calling, like, "Where's she at? How's she doing?" I'm like, I have no idea where she's at. I have no idea how to find her. She hasn't texted me. She hasn't called. The ambulance people won't tell me where she's at. So like, I'm just cruising from Atlanta to Nashville on a Friday night, thinking I'm about to go search, I guess, all the hospitals in the Nashville area, Vanderbilt, trying like wherever to figure out where you're at. So that was kind of interesting too. Finally got a call though, and you were able to tell me where you were at. So that was
Yeah.
good because we have our dogs at home in the kennel. Thankful. Shout out to the neighbors. We'll give them a shout out. They took care of Miller for us.
Yep.
Got him situated though, and then thankfully was able to find you in the ER, where you had a big smile on your face when I walked in. You were in good spirits.
Yeah, well, let's go back to the dog situation. So I couldn't even get the dog in the kennel because I couldn't walk. So one of the 7 firemen put my dog in a kennel. The other three or four had to carry me. I kid you not, carry me out of our house because we have. And if you've been to Nashville, everything is a townhome, long stories, high stairs. It was a full on comedy show if you were really able to watch it too. But I'm thankful, and everyone that went along the way, I just had to give up and just say, take care of me. So, um, once in the hospital, though, we learned that I was not in a good space, and had a lot going on, and I was spent 3 days in ICU. And then once we got my potassium and magnesium and my blood sugar down, that's where all the journey really began. Because if you've ever been to a hospital, unfortunately, our dismissal was very like, all right, girl, you got this. You have diabetes. And to get into an endocrinologist after being in the hospital was really difficult. Finding an endocrinologist that actually will work with you and work with like your diet and not just give you a bunch of insulin and a bunch of medicine is also very scary. Plus, I'd been on a lot of medicine for the flu, so I was on Tamiflu, and they had, really pumped me with a lot of different things. So I was feeling pretty yucky, to be really honest. And that's where the real journey, I think, where we kind of want to start today is like what we've been going through and how we've handled this. So I'll just get the yucky, not fun part out. Through this journey, it has been really, really difficult because I've experienced some things that I've never experienced before. I have always loved being active and physical, and I'm so thankful I'm able to do that. And that is what's been keeping my blood sugar, I think, at a really good space right now. But through this journey, having the flu, going through a very stressful, critical time, I've lost over 50% of my hair. And so that has been really demoralizing. We're still going through that process right now. I'm thankful that I do have hair still. And my last dermatologist said, yes, you should be thankful that you have hair at all. And so I'm going to take that. I've also dealt with just some incredible eczema and psoriasis patches on my face, on my neck, and in my hair. And so dealing with that has been really difficult and painful as well since this whole journey has happened. Plus trying to figure out how to manage diabetes. And so just for anybody who is unaware of how diabetes works, I am not a type 2. I am a type 1. Type 1 is where your body does not produce insulin. And so that's why my elevated blood sugars were so high. My body had stopped producing insulin, and then antibodies are attacking your pancreas. So we like to say my pancreas got beat up really bad, and it's still getting beat up right now. It is an autoimmune disease, and there's no cure, and there's no reason to really know why you get it. So we have learned a little bit that since maybe getting the flu and having this severe sinus infection as well, all of those correlate possibly to just really exposing me being a type 1 diabetic. And that led to more testing, which I'll talk about in a minute. But it's been a journey trying to figure out where my blood sugars need to be at, and also how to manage it with going from very high, and then I've now gone to very low. So I've been blessed with what we call a CGM, or a Dexcom on my arm, which reads my blood sugar every 5 minutes, connects to my phone. So we're able to check every 5 minutes on where my blood sugar is and what my range is.
It's a blessing when it's not waking us up all night.
We've had a lot of nights, unfortunately, where, again, my blood sugar is just still figuring out how to regulate itself. We're figuring out what's really going on with my body and my pancreas, and it's been tough. So sleep is very important, and it goes off a lot at night just because I'm not eating, or I've ate and long periods of time have gone off. So we're either really high or we're really low, and we're in a new stage of life right now. I also inject insulin to myself as needed a few times a day. And we're getting ready to, like I said, do new challenges with our new endocrinologist on what my insulin intake will be like. So I'll pause there for a second. That was a lot of stuff to digest. But I kind of want to just share, like, that's what's been going on with us. It's been a challenge. And the other part of it too is, people say, oh, type 1 is really manageable. I hear it's really great. And yes, it is very manageable. It is very difficult when you are managing it the right way. And I do not want to live my entire life just pumping myself with insulin. So I'm working really hard by diet and exercise, which, again, does not control type 1. It controls and helps support type 2. But type 1, you will never say no to be eating well and managing it through your diet. And you will never say no to working out for type 1 as well. It just will not cure type 1 that we're aware of. I'm also incredibly optimistic that I've been managing it decently and know that food and exercise can manage it in a pretty calm way for me. So I'm thrilled to change up my lifestyle and add a new challenge in a way, but it's also something that Chris and I have really been able to be. I call us like little hermits right now because we're still been busy. We're doing all the things. We just have changed our lifestyle up in a lot of ways because we've got to monitor my health and we've got to take care of ourselves. So, anything you can add on right there, Chris, that I'm forgetting in the little journey we've been going on?
No, that was, I mean, it's been an incredible journey, obviously. I mean, yeah, we left the hospital after 4 days. I'd sit up there all day with you, run home, take care of Miller, get him out and play, run back up, sit. Obviously you had to stay there by yourself at night because, we do have a dog. We didn't know how long Shyrah was going to be in the hospital. So we weren't like putting him in the doggy hotel or anything. We were just kind of, and luckily the hospital we were at was just, a 10-minute drive away. But yeah, then we got sent home, went and picked up, insulin needles and all this stuff. Had no clue what to do. They kind of tell you what to do when you leave the hospital, but there's no one like going hand in hand. It's literally like, yeah, figure it out and go see your endocrinologist. And we're like, we don't even. To me, I'm like, I don't even know what an endocrinologist is. Like, what are we? What do you mean? They're like, yeah, there's
Luckily, I
plenty. Go
had
find it.
Luckily, I
Yeah,
had an
so
education background and I had been a diabetes supporter for some of my schools that I've been at. But if I hadn't had that background, I'll be honest, it is a challenge to figure out how to give yourself insulin, how to manage your carbs, how to count your carbs, and what all long lasting quick pins and all the above really are. So
yeah.
we're
And then
we're learning.
we could probably spend, talk about too, like the health system in general. Obviously, we were able to get into an endocrinologist, which took about 4 weeks. Thankfully, we found out sometimes it takes a lot longer to get into a specialist. So people that are newly diagnosed on a lot of different things, it's probably very confusing and difficult to really figure out how to like live,
Yep.
not having guidance. And then unfortunately, we did have our first endocrinologist. Not gonna like mention where they were at or who they are, but it was an awful experience. We went there, and within 10 minutes, we were like, "This is BS. Like, this isn't how we're. This person will not guide us, on what to do next." And we don't. It was just horrible experience. Thankfully, though, did find somebody that took a lot of time to sit down with you and go through all this and listen to you and be like, "Oh, so you like." You're kicking ass here. Like you're eating right, you're working out. Like we can manage this thing and like get a game plan with you. And I mean, just the messaging back and forth, we can tell just night and day. And that's something too we've talked to people about. Like it sucks, but you've got to take the right time to find a good doctor because like that makes all the difference. We if we would have stayed with the other, we'd probably still be in a situation where we don't know what's going on and we wouldn't have the right guidance. But thankfully, we did find somebody who it cares and spent a lot of
Yep.
time with us and is continuing on the journey and making
Yep.
sure we do this the right way. So that's something that finally we've gotten to, and hopefully, we'll continue to have that coaching and
Yep.
plan for us and you to attack this the right way.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I can think about too saying is like you have to be your own advocate and you have to do your research. And you also have to not be scared by everything that you read because I think if you were to look on Google all night and you think you might be dying, right? Like there's a lot of stuff on there, but you have to be able to do the research and you have to be your own advocate. And we had to be our own advocate in a very difficult situation with a doctor that did not understand that I wanted to manage this the best I could with exercise and health and nutrition, and also made me feel like I was never going to have a light at the end of the tunnel in a way. And so I think there are a lot of things good that come with what is going on with me. Um, Also understanding the word what autoimmune means and understanding that there are a lot of pieces that and layers to go to autoimmune. I have done a lot of testing already, and just to catch everybody up to speed, if you are familiar with autoimmune diseases, we've tested my thyroid, we've tested my estrogen, we've tested my testosterone, we've tested just about everything. We've also done all the antibody testing so we can get a proper answer for type 1. And I am positive with my antibodies that I am a type 1. Pretty high on all of them. The only one that I did not test positive for or I had one negative test, which was for childhood diabetes. So I have developed this as an autoimmune. And with this diagnosis, we now can say I'm for sure type 1. This is something I'll be dealing with. And then we also, we're given kind of like, I don't want to say grim news, but we also got some like not great news about the antibodies that I tested positive for, that align very highly with the type 1 antibody that I have. And so right now we'll talk more about that once we get those tests done. But some things that I definitely don't want to deal with lifelong. Pretty scary, but again, like we know that we can fight through just about anything, and we have a great doctor and a great endocrinologist that has a game plan for us, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to go through the game plan, and we're going to stay healthy and focus every day, like live like my life depends on my health, like it does. So yeah, I think getting those antibody tests were really eye-opening to me. I also, like, just to be really transparent, do not know where those testings will lie. I will be getting CT scans and getting a lot of different blood work done now, just to make sure that I don't have any early onset of some other things going on. So fingers crossed, good vibes, prayers. But my goal is to stay really positive. And if I do have the precursors or beginnings of the other two that lie with that type 1 antibody on the GAD line, we'll fight through it. So yeah, I'm feeling incredibly positive. But I also know our journey is just now beginning in a lot of ways too.
Yeah. And for those that don't know, I mean, your diagnosis is super rare
Yes.
at your age and stage of life. Most type
Right.
1 diabetics are diagnosed as children,
Mm-hmm. No.
usually, like 12 and younger, and those individuals deal with it their entire lives, which is wild. We've met a lot of people. We have friends here in Nashville, they wear insulin pump or they have a monitor, and, I have friends that didn't really know until Shyrah was diagnosed, like how much work goes into the daily life. I mean, I have a friend who told me the other day, he's like, he pricks himself 10 to 12 times a day to check his blood. And I'm like, that's like every hour you're awake, you're sticking yourself to
Yep.
make sure your sugars are
Yep.
at a correct level. And so like until you're dealing with it on a daily basis, you just don't know all the work and like the
Yeah.
constant thinking that every food you eat, every drink, every sip you take all day long is just affecting your sugar. And it's
Yeah.
just, it can be exhausting. I've seen you go through it where it's just like, you're just constantly checking because you just don't know.
Fatigue.
Like you feel a certain
Blood sugar
way and
fatigue.
it's crazy.
Yeah. You make a great point, and that's kind of where I wanted to just to kind of go with this is blood sugar. I've learned so much. Blood sugar regulates so much for you. And I encourage you to manage your carbs, manage your sugar. If you feel weird or have things, get tested. Like, and I'm not just saying for blood sugar, but blood sugar really truly runs your body. And what we think is normal, what we eat every day is not normal for our bodies. And I, was never a big sugar person, was never a high carb person. And I still am affected by this. So this is something like, again, it's not type 2, it's type 1, but type 2 is very easy to get these days, just because the way our world is and our food and our lifestyles. So I just really encourage you to get an idea of what your blood sugar is and what your average should be, and learn more about your body because it is a lot of work. And like Chris said, the amount of work for a type 1 diabetic it's crazy. I've had a lot of people say, "Oh, you'll manage this. This is great." And I do think that there's a lot of unawareness around what the type 1 lifestyle really looks like compared to type 2. And type 1s do not want this. They don't bring it on themselves. So I think that's the thing too, is like once you have it, it's irreversible. And so I think it's a learning process for all type 1s every day because there's really not a lot of managing what your blood sugar may look like because your pancreas is getting beat up on all day long. So I think
Yeah.
that's like just a good call out too.
Yeah. And obviously there's nothing like super positive about this, but like we've eaten healthy and worked out, like you mentioned, like we're daily exercise runners, lifters, we've done CrossFit, we go to a
Yep.
gym, but even more so now, like and obviously you're doing it with your platform to show people like what we eat now. We'll talk more about it on the podcast too, but we pay so much attention to ingredients now in food, and obviously we're not perfect, but just like we're going, it takes work. Like, and we understand like people, it's hard to get. There's so much bad food out there, and even food that's marketed as healthy, you flip it over and you're like, oh my gosh, why does it have seed oil or why does it have this? Like, it's so
Yeah.
stupid. It starts to piss you off a lot, just like at the food that we're fed here in America, and just how unhealthy it is for everybody. But we've been able to focus so much on it, and then the gym, the sauna, eating right, and just living a little bit better. So for me, it's you've helped me be healthier. I was already healthy, but now it's like, even more so, and even being conscious, like ultra conscious now about what we're doing and how we're doing it. And so, that's one thing. I guess the blessing is you're able to help other people now and explain like, something that's healthy. Well, it looks healthy, but it's not as healthy as you think. It actually could be worse than a candy bar, just based
Yeah.
off the ingredients. And so that'll be something I think you'll be able to be a light to others on, and teach them, what you're learning through the process, and just be that could be something positive that comes from this, is you being able to help a lot of other people.
Yep.
Now that you've kind of had to force yourself to really learn this stuff. And
Yep.
yeah, we spent a lot of time on Google, and just again trying, we didn't know what to do, so we're figuring a lot of this out on our own.
Yep.
And like anything, when you're forced to do that, you end up learning a lot more and becoming more in tune with what you need to know. So proud of you and just everything that you've done to manage this. I mean, you're literally kicking ass. It'll be Friday, and my work's been crazy the last few weeks, and I'll be like, I really don't want to go work out, but we'll go do it, and we feel 10 times better. And I'm glad that
Yep.
we make ourselves do these things now, because it really does make a huge difference in how I know you feel, and even me,
Yep.
how I feel. It's just so much more positive now that we do this stuff with more
Yeah.
intention, which is cool.
Yeah, one thing that you just mentioned too, and I'll just kind of give a brief summary, and I'm going to like massive detail, like how we're eating and what we're doing. But there's a couple of key highlights I think are really important for any individual just trying to be healthy. And one of them is walking. I talk about walking a lot. I've talked about it on the podcast. I walk pretty much if I can after every meal to bring my blood sugar down. It is amazing what 10 minutes of walking, 10 to 15 minutes of walking will do to drop your blood sugar. I am high, so my blood sugar is usually likes to jack up. If you've heard of like blood sugar spikes, my blood sugar likes to stay, like I said, very elevated. And so it's a very comfortable way for me to drop my blood sugar after a meal. It also is just great in general, and it brings my mood, boosts my energy. It'll be 9:30 at night, and I might have had like something that won't bring me down very quickly. And I'm just like, I cannot believe I have to go walk, but I will be in a much better attitude. I will feel better, and like I will go to bed and I will sleep better. So the
I
more
might
steps
post some funny videos of you in your sweatpants and hoodie, just walking
I
barefoot
mean,
on
I'm
the
doing
treadmill.
whatever I have to do at this point because I want to be healthy and I want to
You
sleep
look
good.
you look like Bam Bam, just over there, just
Oh, I'm
walking in the
man for
treadmill,
sure.
sweats,
Well,
barefoot.
here's the thing. Blood sugar, what we know about blood sugar is it is high blood sugar is not good for you. There's links to so many things, and I will go into that more, but high blood sugar causes pretty much every health problem. And so I just think that getting that blood sugar regulated, like my doctor said, and my endocrinologist has shared, it's my life. Like it is all I have. It's what I have to focus on so that I stay healthy. If I get high, I get blurred vision. I'm incredibly thirsty. I have to go to the bathroom a lot. It's just a non-healthy place for me to be at, and it changes very quickly. The other thing is my diet. So I have chose to eliminate all ultra processed food. Pretty much had done that prior, but now I have eliminated ultra processed foods. Seed oils have always been something I've eliminated. I've been very low. I've never been gluten free completely, but I would avoid gluten, and I'm completely gluten free now. I will tell you, I would not say I'm carnivore or keto or any of those things because I still introduce and I still eat vegetables and fruit. I just have to be very mindful of the carbs that are in vegetables and fruit. So when I eat them, I am incredibly regulated. But most of my meals, and this is like not to freak anybody out, is less than 10 carbs per meal, 10 grams of carbs per meal. So I'm eating a lot of meat. and a lot of protein, and I'm eating a lot of fat as well. The reason I've chosen this and the reason I've worked with my doctor on this too is I'm also healing my pancreas and healing my body from a lot of the things that had happened to me while I was really run down and sick. And it's going to take a long time with the hair loss, skin issues, all of that, just to try and heal with food as well. I eat a lot of eggs, like I've shared before, and I'm eating probably anywhere between like 6 to 10 eggs a day. And then also just really high quality food. So single source ingredients, think like are always better than grabbing a protein bar. There are snacks that I do grab that are, more processed than normal, but I try to do very, very clean ingredients. Everything from like even just a piece of cheese that is very clean to, my very favorite right now is cottage cheese because it's something that I can manage and add into my diet that doesn't have high carbs. So it's hard. I will be very honest. Like some days I'm like, what am I going to eat again today? Another egg, another avocado. But at the end of the day, it's really changed my blood sugar. And I'm managing it right now better without having to use a ton of extra insulin. So the spikes are scary. The spikes are hard. But yes, I think there's a lot of benefit if you are wanting to lower your blood sugar. Carbs are great. I'm not going to say carbs are bad. Athletes need carbs. You need carbs that is what is your energy source, of course. I've just switched mine to proteins and fats in my body. And it's been very great for me. I've actually had a lot of great results with eating mostly meat and high protein. And one of the things that's been really great for me is I have zero stomach issues, which prior I think with gluten probably being in my diet a little bit, bloating, all of those kinds of things, cramping has been completely eliminated. So I have a lot of positive things that have come out of this too that I've got to enjoy. I am not a doctor. I'm just sharing with you what has worked for me and what I'm doing. But yes, so a lot of high protein, watching the fruits and veggies that I eat, less than I used to because a lot of times they are hard carbs and they do spike me, but making sure I still get those nutrients in that I need. Adding in some dairy that I usually didn't eat, which is clean. And it's everything that's like live cultures, which is really important to me.
Yep. And we'll kind of dive in on another episode too. We've had a lot of people asking us about supplements that we take.
Yeah.
Everything from like creatine, like when do we take that? What do we take? Do we take greens? Like there's a lot of products out there that are again marketed as healthy that we've learned are not as good as they're portrayed to be. And so we like from vitamin C to element, or people ask, people drink liquid IVs, but I know you have a lot of opinions on the different products and which ones are good, which ones are not as good. And again, we've had thankfully, a lot of people like start to ask us, hey, what do you
Yeah.
take? What's the best here? And so we'll do a whole, like another episode where we kind of introduce the products that you like and that we've started taking, or ones that we have decided not to take for one reason or another. So we can
Okay.
kind of share that. And I think, again, we've had a lot of people ask, so we'll kind of make that specific in another podcast too. So we can actually like share all those because that'll take a little bit of time.
I'm super excited to share that, and I think another thing I'll share when we talk about supplements, and supplements can be a lot of things from vitamins to hydration to a probiotic. I have a really good regimen now that has been working well for both of us for quite a while. We've done it prior, but also now we've been able to adjust and modify. I also feel really great with the products that I use because I know what I'm putting in my body. And I think ingredients are just incredibly important in this day and age. So think single ingredients, think simple, less is more. If you can't read it, it's probably, or you don't understand it, it's probably not good for you. And
Good
I'm just
rule.
like, yeah, it's easy peasy when it comes to that. But I also just want to help you because I think it's important to share because what might work for you may not work for me and vice versa. But I think there's a lot of good products out there too that will help you if you're struggling with something. And I will say, get your walks in, drop your blood sugar. You may not even know you have high blood sugar or low blood sugar, but I think it's really important to get that checked. I've just connected with so many people this day and age who are like, there's no way I have prediabetes or there's no way that I have high blood sugar. And again, I'm a type 1, but you just never know. And I think it's just really important for you to be aware of what your body's going through.
Yep. No, big fan of the walks. I mean, even before this, I used to go just walk at the end of every work day just because it cleared your head and, throw a podcast in or thankfully now, we have a dog. A lot of people have, pets. It's just, it's a good excuse to go walk, take them for their daily walk and keep them healthy too. We've got Miller, who I guess it's more of a run more so than a walk with him. But
Great therapy though
no,
for you and your partner, or like one of the best
yeah,
things is great therapy. Whether it's just talking, maybe you're not, sometimes we just don't talk and we're just like walking and thinking, but it is the best mood enhancer booster for you. I can't say enough things about it. So if you're struggling with stress, if you're struggling with just energy and anything, start there. Like start there and don't stop. I absolutely would walk all day if I could some days.
yeah. Yeah, so I mean, if you have questions on supplements, like shoot us a text, and that way we'll kind of like put a list together. We already have a few
Yep.
that we're starting to make so that we can cover them, and maybe the next podcast, so we're putting together some of those questions and some of those products we use, and we can share
Absolutely.
them. And we have other people that they recommend things to us that are in certain situations. So we're always like taking input, doing research. We follow some people that have a lot of influence on what they use. So we'll share a lot of that in either the next podcast or two.
Yeah.
Um, but no, babe. I mean, obviously we've gotten our
Well,
diagnosis. We've gone through a lot. I mean, this was three months, or
3 months.
longer, since you were feeling not great, but 3 months since the hospital incident, and
Yep.
getting to where we're at now. So we've gotten answers. We still have things to figure out. So there'll be more
Absolutely.
that we share as we go along in this journey. But no, I mean, is there anything else you'd like to share
No, I
for
think,
today?
yeah, I'm so thankful to share the story and share, like, again, like I said at the beginning, your life can change just like that. Your health is important. Stop, take care of yourself. You are the number one thing to take care of. And I also just encourage people, like, there's a lot of tough stuff going on in the world. Like, it's not just me, it's not just Chris. Like, we all got a lot going on, and just know, like, this podcast is to be a support system, and hopefully, like, help you feel better throughout your day. So I'm thankful, I'm blessed. This is not something I ever thought I would say, is I would be a type 1 diabetic, but I'm also very thankful because I'm hoping that I can help you and you can help me as well, and we can enjoy, like, being each other's support systems here on this podcast. So just really
Yeah.
thankful. And I'm hoping to encourage you to get moving, think about what you're eating, and I'm excited to share more about what we're eating as well.
Yeah. And we'll keep being busy.
Yep.
Being type 1 doesn't keep you from being busy. It actually makes you more busy.
Yeah.
So, but we're gonna be busy, working out, continuing to do
Yep.
fun stuff. If anyone knows Shire and I, we love to travel. We love to do a lot of fun things with friends and family, and do crazy stuff. And that's not going to stop us from doing it. While we have been boring the last few months, that's been needed and a good recharge for us as we work through this. But we're planning future trips now, and we're gonna, we know how to manage this, and we can't wait to get back to our, more normal lifestyle, as we know how to keep this thing in check. So, but no, send us questions. We'll make sure we get those answered as we
Yep.
continue to do these. And so, no, babe, that's all I got.
Thank you for listening. I appreciate it.
Let's go watch. We got more basketball on tonight, so
I know. Let's go.
let's go catch it.